So my name is Ron Vierpin. I'm a full-time medical doctor and I've been home bartending for over 6 years now. During that time, I've learned how to make over 150 different cocktails and I've done over 60 cocktail parties. And I teach other busy professionals like myself how to make cocktails at home. And in this video, we're going to be going over my current liqueur collection, as you can see by the bottles displayed here. And I've owned a number of different liqueurs over the years, even including some that I currently don't have, but this is just the different bottles that I currently have, and I want to go over different examples of cocktails that you can make with each one. And if this is really important, if you've already bought your core spirits, you've maybe made a few cocktails, you're really looking to buy some modifiers and expand your repertoire, expand the number of different cocktails that you can make. And just as a caveat, this list will not include Amaros like the bottle of Campari that I have behind me there, or vermouths like the sweet and dry vermouth that I have in my fridge currently. And the reason is because I really think of Amaros like Campari and Aperol and things like that as really their own category, although they are technically liqueurs, they're Italian bitter liqueurs. And I also think of vermouths and other fortified wines as really being their own category as well. So I won't be really discussing them here, but we have plenty of content with just the 7 bottles that I have here. So these 3 are going to be from Jolad, and we'll start right here with the basically with a blue curacao, and we'll relate that to Cointreau. These are really very similar because they're both orange liqueurs. If you only buy one, I think Cointreau is going to be the most versatile of all them, and I've made a video talking about that as well. But blue curacao has a few unique cases. It basically involves cocktails where you have Cointreau or some form of orange liqueur. If you swap that out for blue curacao, the main benefit is that you get the striking, beautiful blue color of this ingredient. And there is nothing else in mixology or bartending that has that same blue color. So if you want to make a couple examples, for example, would be if you wanted to swap out this for the blue curacao in a margarita, you go from the classic margarita to a blue margarita. If you wanted to swap out Cointreau for blue curacao in a Long Island iced tea, another very famous cocktail, then you go from something like the Long Island iced tea to the Adios Motherfucker. So in that case, you actually have a completely different name for the cocktail itself, although you're not really changing much. You're basically just changing the orange liqueur to the blue curacao. That's really pretty much the only difference you're going to be making. You're keeping the other spirits the same, and you're keeping like the lemon juice and simple syrup the same as well. So those are really some of the more common examples. Really the other use for blue curacao is that there are a lot of famous blue drinks in pop culture, like on TV shows or movies, things like that. A couple of examples that come to mind would be the blue milk that you see in Star Wars, or the riot juice that you see in Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I'm definitely a big fan of both of those things. So if you're wanting to recreate those recipes, there's no really official recipe on those things, but there's definitely other content creators that have made versions of those, and I'll probably upload versions of my own or my own creations to this channel as well. But there are definitely versions online. You can search like how to make riot juice from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, or you can search how to make blue milk from Star Wars, and there's definitely people that have made cocktails based on those things, and they always use some form of blue curacao like this one here from Jolad. And so that's going to be the blue curacao. The next ingredient here is going to be a brown creme de cacao. And this one right here from Jolad is great too. As you can see, I have quite a few products from Jolad. I think this is one of the better companies out there. But obviously, I do like Giffard as well. And then another one, it's a little bit harder to find, especially where I currently live. But Tempest Fugit is also great for things like banana liqueur, or also creme de cacao as well. I really love their creme de cacao. But Giffard is a great alternative as well. And creme de cacao is used for a few different cocktails. Really, the main ones that come to mind are the birthday cake cocktail and the brandy Alexander, or really any form of Alexander. So this in the Alexander, this complements really well with heavy cream, and then you combine it with like either gin or brandy, depending on if it's the Alexander or the brandy Alexander, and that allows you to create a great, really warm, great cocktail, especially for the winter months like December, January, February, things like that. It's a great cocktail for the holiday season, for the winter months. It's a really warm, inviting ingredient. I think it really reminds me a lot of chocolate cake. That's why I think it's great for the birthday cake cocktail. So those are just a couple examples of different cocktails that use that. Then right here we have creme de mûre, which is a blackberry liqueur. I really love blackberry as a fruit, so I was a big fan of getting this ingredient. And pretty much the only cocktail that I use it for, it's kind of crazy that I have an ingredient just for one cocktail, but I love this cocktail so much that's why I have this ingredient. And that cocktail is the Bramble. It's a cocktail invented by Dick Bradsell, one of the greatest bartenders probably of his era, which was the 1980s, an era where not a lot of great bartending mixology was happening. But he created a number of different classics. The most famous one is the espresso martini, but probably his second most famous one is the Bramble. And you definitely need to have creme de mûre for the Bramble specifically. I don't really know a ton of other cocktails or really any other cocktails that use creme de mûre, but I think the Bramble is such a great cocktail. And I love blackberry liqueur and blackberries in general so much that I'd love to have this ingredient in my repertoire. just for making that specific cocktail. Then right here we have Cointreau. I think Cointreau is the most versatile of all the different liqueurs out there, not just of all the orange liqueurs, but of really all the liqueurs. I think if you had to buy your first liqueur, I think you should start with Cointreau. I actually made a video about this time last year on that same topic. But this is used for a number of different cocktails. We've already talked about the sorry, not the Adios motherfucker. We talked about the Long Island iced tea. We talked about the margarita. But there's also a number of other different cocktails that do use Cointreau as one of their main ingredients, or any type of orange liqueur. You know, the sidecar is another thing that comes to mind. I really think of it as like the cognac version of the margarita. And, you know, that's a great one. The Corpse Reviver is another great one as well. So tons of great like classic cocktails that really use orange liqueurs, especially something like Cointreau. This is going to be your more versatile option than something like the Blue Curacao. So margarita, sidecar, Long Island iced tea, all great examples. Corpse Reviver as well. So a number of different great classic cocktails that do use this. So those are all great options too. Then we have the banana liqueur. There's not really too much use case for this. These are really more like specialty cocktails, craft cocktails, modern classics, and modern cocktails, things like that. So these are really the cocktails that are created in this newer generation. The main one that I actually use this for is called the beer grills. I haven't yet made a video on this channel about that, but I'll probably do that coming up pretty soon. I think it's a great summer cocktail, and because it has beer in its ingredient, I think it's also great for any type of, you know, since I'm American, I love American football. So it's great for a lot of different football related events. If you're having tailgate parties, watch parties for different games like Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, Super Bowl party, fantasy football draft party, anything like that. I think beer grills, because it has beer as an ingredient, a great cocktail to serve at that time. And that's really the main use that I have for the banana liqueur. But obviously there's tons of other great, these are going to be mostly like modern classic contemporary cocktails, but a lot of great examples of cocktails in that realm. Or if you're trying to make your own cocktails, I think it's another great ingredient to have. Then right here we have Kahlua. This is probably one of the more famous liqueurs out there. This is a coffee liqueur. I think Kahlua and Mr. Black are probably my two favorite coffee liqueurs. Mr. Black is more on the dry side. Kahlua is more on the sweeter side. But definitely a number of cocktails. The main ones that do come to mind are going to be the Black Russian, the White Russian, and the Espresso Martini. Espresso Martini, probably one of the most famous cocktails of the 2020s. So that's really super popular right now. Pretty much anytime you go to a bar, you're going to see somebody order an espresso martini. So that's going to be a great ingredient to have for making espresso martinis. Whether you go with this one, I used to have Mr. Black. I think that's also a great option. I have nothing wrong with that. It's just Kahlua is just the one that I currently have. But I love Mr. Black as well. Another great option. And then finally, we have Luxardo's Maraschino liqueur. There's really no substitute for this. Maraschino is basically like a version of a cherry, like a dried macerated cherry. So it's got not exactly that same cherry taste, but it has some of that, but it's got more of this like, it's really unique. There's no real other way to describe it, but it's got a lot of like funk and other character to it as well. And this is, it seems like a really unique niche ingredient, but it's actually used in a number of different classic cocktails. Things like the Aviation or the Martinez or the Hemingway daiquiri are all great examples of cocktails that do use maraschino liqueur. Last Word as well. So there really is no alternative to maraschino liqueur. And this is really the best brand, in my opinion, that makes it, Luxardo. And also a really beautiful bottle that it's going to look great on your countertops and on your bar carts, wherever you're going to be serving drinks. So great benefit just to have even for that purpose alone, but also a great ingredient to use in all of these different cocktails. And these are the 7 that I have right now. Obviously I have Campari behind me, but that's for a separate video really. These are a great base to go with when you're looking to really, you're an intermediate level bartender. You've already made a few classic cocktails. You made some of the foundational classic cocktails, maybe 3, 5, 10 different cocktails. You really have those in your repertoire. You want to buy some modifiers to really expand your repertoire. I think Cointreau is going to be one of the best places to start. And really the other ones all have specific use cases. Probably Cointreau and maraschino liqueur are the most versatile for your classic cocktails. Obviously this one is for like the margarita, the sidecar, the Corpse Reviver. This one is going to be used for things like the Last Word, Hemingway daiquiri, Martinez, Aviation. So a number of different classic cocktails as well. So these are really where I would really start. There's a few other great examples as well, but some of them are more niche or only for specific cocktails. One of the first bottles that I bought actually was green chartreuse. So there's green chartreuse and yellow chartreuse. Green chartreuse is mainly for the Last Word. It complements with the Luxardo maraschino liqueur. So it goes with that one. The thing is, when I started bartending in 2020, green chartreuse was actually affordable, but because of some issues with chartreuse and the manufacturing, the prices have actually skyrocketed. So it's a lot more impractical to get chartreuse as a ingredient. Although I do love the last word as a cocktail, it's still it's really just one cocktail that uses that ingredient, and that ingredient is so expensive that I don't really think it's as worth it these days. And most of the other liqueurs are really just for specific cocktails. I really love the Paloma, and you could definitely make the Paloma without grapefruit liqueur, but if you add just a little quarter ounce of grapefruit liqueur, I think it really makes the Paloma amazing. So that's probably one of the next bottles that I'm going to buy for different liqueurs. So that's a great option. But honestly, if you're just trying to, you can also just experiment and try to make your own cocktails. If you see a liqueur that you love, you know, lychee or strawberry or something like that, or some different fruit, pear, apricot, then those are also great ingredients to buy. So really, this is where bartending, I mean, bartending always is fun, but when you add things like liqueurs and modifiers and things like that, that's when bartending really gets fun. You can start experimenting. You can create more like modern and contemporary cocktails. You can start making your own cocktails, things like that. You can start making modifications and twists and variations on a lot of the classic cocktails. So a lot of great options out there. This is just a good starting place. This is the 7 different bottles of liqueurs that I have currently in my bar. But I've also owned chartreuse. I've owned grapefruit liqueur. I've even had like a chai spice liqueur. I've had Mr. Black's coffee liqueur. I've had creme de violette, which is used for the aviation along with the maraschino. So a lot of different liqueurs out there. These are, like I said, these are just the ones that I currently have, but tons of great options out there. If you really want to get fun, you want to get experimental, go there. If you just want a place, if you're a beginner, you just want a place to start with Cointreau, and then probably get Luxardo maraschino liqueur as maybe your second liqueur. Or you can go with Campari. I know we're not really talking about Amaros in this video, but Campari, the one I have behind me, is another great option. So these should probably really be your first 3 liqueurs. And then after that, just base it on whatever cocktails you love. If your favorite cocktail is the Bramble, you could certainly get Creme de Mure as the absolute first liqueur in your home bar, and you'll have a great collection as well. I actually bought Creme de Mure really early on in my journey. I think it might have been the first, or maybe, oh no, sorry, Campari was actually my first one technically. But of all the other liqueurs, this was definitely like one of the first 3 or 5 liqueurs that I bought, even though it's more niche, more specific. I just really love the Bramble, and I think it's a great, so really have fun with it. There's no right or wrong answer. I think if you're a beginner, you just want to start, and you're wondering where to go with Cointreau, go with maraschino liqueur, go with Campari. But honestly, if you just have favorite cocktails you really love, the Bramble, go with the Creme de Mure. If you really love the Brandy Alexander, go with the Creme de Cacao. If you really love Black Russian or White Russian, go with Kahlua or Mr. Black, something like that. So a lot of different great options. I just really wanted to outline my current collection and how maybe that can help you guys think of different cocktails to make, think of different purchases to make next time you go to the liquor store. Anyways, this is all the advice I have for this video. If you found the advice in this video helpful, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I actually do 2 styles of videos on this channel. The first will be a talking head style one like this one. I go over tips and tricks, share stories from my own home bartending journey, answer questions, things like that I hope will help you guys become better home bartenders. The second style video will be a tutorial where I show you guys how to make a specific cocktail. And finally, if you really found this video helpful, you want to take home bartending even more seriously, I actually have a paid community on school.com. That'll be the first link in the description below. Thank you. Cheers.